Hello everybody and welcome back once again to Let's Play Tyranny. Right, here we are. It's Judge's Day, the third span of Rapax. I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, here we are, once again at Iron Hearth, stood before Archon Graven Ash, here to find out what the next step is. Because we have done everything that has been asked of us so far. We have ended... How many edicts now? We're losing count. 3? 4?
Will do.
Surely now there's not much left for us to do. Fatebinder, I felt something indescribable pass through me just before your arrival. Emotions of great rage and pain, followed by a moment of lingering sorrow. I suspect that something has been lost, and Tyranny herself strains at the absence. I understand that both of the spires jutting up from the ruins of Azure are now under your control. It would seem that impossible feats are no mystery to the likes of you. Impressive for Tunan's minion. Do not allow yourself to be swept up by the esteem and glory of this achievement. Were you a soldier of mine, I would temper your pride with modesty. Yes. Well, Calvina thinking, we are not a soldier of yours, so your opinion does not matter one jot. But anyway, reporting the success. The Archon of Stone, fallen. I thank you, Fatebinder. This was a long time coming. Cairn's betrayal was inexcusable, and a death sentence from a lawful hand is no more or less than he deserved. What's more, you are to be commended for resolving an Edict of Kairos, and putting down an Archon at once. Yes, indeed, and now on to the next order of business. What happens to the chorus from here? The crops grown for our enemies will have withered on the vine. By now the Archon's forces are clutching their stomachs and tightening their belts as we starve them out. A fair reward for more than fair service to the Legion. A heavy hammer wrapped in cloth. Do we look the sort to be wielding heavy hammers? Anyway, maybe Barrett can make use of it. The Earthshakers and Forgebound conceived of this, and I can think of no wielder more deserving than you, Fatebinder. Ooh, how lovely. Fatebinder! Breathless, the officer snaps to attention. No time for pleasantries or ceremony. Your spire is under attack. The Scarlet Chorus have ramped up their offensive, and they mean to topple your stronghold. With you atop it, if need be. I feared something like this might happen. An act of desperation from the voices of Narat. He's either too much of a coward to attack Iron Hearth, or his forces are too weak. Either way, you'll need to answer this threat with blood. Yes. Well, whilst my spires have been attacked, I'm afraid I can't stop for chit-chat. I shall be setting off at once to deal with this issue. Received a missive from Fatebinder Rogalus. It's all kicking off here. An Archon's End. Dear Fatebinder Calvina, you ended an edict, and now you have ended an Archon. Oh dear, her list of achievements continue to grow. I know none in this court had such expectations for you when the Adjudicator initially brought you among us. So many surprises in so short a span. You fascinate. While he lived, Cairn was a singular being, a titanic man born of the womb of Tyranny herself to hear some tell it. While none still living can provide account to that birth, you bore witness to his demise. Indeed, you precipitated it. I ask that you indulge my scholarly curiosity. What passed between you and the Archon of Stone in those final moments? Did the ground tear itself asunder, as a widow rends her garments? Did the mountains groan a panegyric to their champion? Were there any final words from Cairn, spoken or inscribed? Does a crystal that reportedly protrudes from the cliff face throughout Azure still glimmer? Or has it darkened? Yes, describe the blighted land. How does one depict the death throes of a nation? In the Edict of Stone, Kairos consigned Cairn to his doom, but in their ritual the Earthshakers spread that execution across the entire region. The life drained from the soil even as it faded from Cairn's eyes. One could verily feel the stone trying to leech my own life from me, as if I'd eaten stale bread when I already thirsted for a flagon. We don't take great pleasure in it, but it was a means to an end. Anyway, we have standing tall. We need to return to Vendrian's Well Spire. The forces are marching. Okay. Oh, I am Marshal Arenos. Greetings, Fatebinder. Our oath-bound scouts alerted us to a chorus assault on your spire, and Lord Ash insisted we send aid at once. I've assembled a... Whoa! The massive sculpture rumbles, shaking the masonry of the spire and sending her off balance. Oh. Oh. The orb in the centre of the resonator spins with the push of some unseen force. Where the structure once exuded warmth, now it gives off a ferocious heat that singes your face the longer you stare into it. A sound like music swarms in the air around the structure, but it's painful and disharmonious to your ears. You probably know more about what's going on than I do, but I hate this. Isn't there anything you can do to stop it? The spire, it's stuffing you with power, really force-feeding it in. Don't you feel that? The spire is now fully awake. Its long-dormant currents of energy dance to your presence. I am Marshal, crouching to the ground. Feels like something is shaking the spire. The chorus can't pull off that sort of magic. What in Kairos' name is going on? Yes. Yes, as the ruler of this spire, I have a mystic link to this place. Give me a moment, and I shall get to the bottom of it. I don't suppose this magical spire of yours has some warding magic, or something of that ilk? Unshakable courage and superior training will only take us so far against that larger force. Yes, bear with me. When I broke the Edict of Fire, I was flooded by an intuition of how it all works. I could try proclaiming it without Kairos' words. You would act the Overlord? We're under attack. This is hardly the time for blasphemy, wishful or otherwise. Do it. Shout and yell and pretend you're Kairos, and when we're done, we'll discuss a real plan. Oh, my dear, this is a real plan. Trust me. The mystic hum of the spire pulses to the cadence of your heart. The ancient structure awaits your command. Oh my god! She's going to proclaim her own edict. Are you kidding me, Calvina? No chance. Okay, she's touching the resonator and concentrating. The Archon of Spires, slayer of an Archon herself. All throughout her journey she has been having these thoughts and these feelings that ultimately she wants to gain power, gain status, however far that is up the scale, if you will. It matters not. Proclaiming her own edicts. Well, that's the dangerous territory. But hey, oh, here she is. Prepare yourselves, I have an edict to proclaim. As you touch the stone structure, your sense of the moment slows and you feel the entirety of the tiers at your fingertips. The spire stands ready to channel your will. The hell? Edicts. Select a region to view its current edict or to issue a new one. Vendrian's Well. Edict of Fire, 500 power. Oh, there's two. Oh my god, so we use our power to cast edicts? £500 power, 500 power, 500 power. So an Edict of Fire brings the energy of fire to large regions of the world. This generates incredible heat, sometimes flame, as well as strengthening the powers of magic. We've got a lot of fire spells in our spell list. Could be a good one. Edict of Stone. Edict of Storms. It's all about the fire, baby. It's all about the fire. 15 magic skills, frost damage converted to health, potion effectiveness, enemy effects, empowered bane, less quickness. Consumables are far more effective. Foes become fatigued and have a penalty to quickness. Oh my god, here we go, folks. We are issuing an Edict of Fire. What in Graven Ash's name? But Kairos didn't give an edict to read, so how did... Yes. I think we'll keep our thoughts to ourselves on that one, shall we? You did that? Her hand grasped for her chest. But only Kairos could cast an edict. I can quite assure you that was my own magic at work. The chorus have no idea what they've just walked into. The Iron Marshal smashes her gauntlets together with a quiet chuckle. Binder, let us strike now. We must seize the moment and swing their panic into a rout. Fatebinder, I will get the carnage started. Join me when you are ready, and we'll deal with whatever rabble remains. Oh boy. Oh my golly gosh. Defeat the invaders. Standing tall, enemy forces amassed. A few have breached the courtyard. Repel them and secure the courtyard. Indeed we shall. Let's go see what havoc we have created with our very own Edict of Fire. Holy flipping cow. Anything to report? Yes, a few odds and sods. Thank you. Oh my god. Yep. Okay. They have burnt, and some of them have run. Attack my spires again, and you'll get more of the same! Death knell. A gang of soot-stained scarlet chorus trails behind Death Knell, a mixture of awe and confusion resting upon their faces. Willing to burn your own valley to ashes just to put us down? She nods with a toothy grin. I almost like your style. Think I needed all those unwashed idiots? Just means that me and the top gangs get the best pickings. We'll be happy to lay you to rest in this little funeral pyre you've built for yourself. She turns to her soldiers and lets out a primal howl, her warriors echoing the battle cry in dissonant tones. Insufficient reputation. Maybe we might have been able to do something there, but hey-ho. Fools. Did you not hear me proclaim that edict? Either I cast that by myself, or did so with the Overlord's blessing. Think that through very carefully before you take your next step. Do not liken yourself to the Overlord. Your magic may have startled my weaker troops, but your magic is nothing my own blood chanters could not affect. Isn't that right? She looks to one of her mages for a nod of approval, but is met instead with a blanched look of fear, mouth agape in terror. Enough talk! You will be trampled and forgotten. Only the voices of Narat will remember your name. Stupid woman. Right, onwards to glory! Hopefully, we don't die. Having just proclaimed an edict.
Come out, brave maiden.
Okay, we're off. We are off. Talk about edicts of fire? I'll give you edict of flippin' fire, love. All of you shall burn. Feel the flame, baby. What in the heavens is going on? I think we've been silenced. Oh, we're on fire. Bear with us here. I think Lantry. Hopefully he's not silenced. What is she flipping doing? Is she right in her head or what? Right, Lantry, you might need to do something more aggressive, like turn her to stone.
As you command.
That's it, we'll take her down now. Whilst the rest of the party deal with this little problem. Scarlet Fury, Sage, that's Death Knell. Soon to be meeting her Death Knell in a minute. Oh, what a swipe by Barrick. Absolutely good night. Oh, it wasn't Barrick, it was bloody Iron Marshal Arenos. Well, whoever it was, well done. Okay. Right, Lantry, now would be a good time to start healing some of us.
Right.
Oh, we've got more people coming here. What the hell is happening? Go on, Verse. You got it. Help is on the way, dear. Help is on the way.
This is useless. I should try some.
Boof. Good night. Muffled laughter comes from under Arenos' great helm. Oh, that's right, you filthy peasants! Run for your lives! Tell the rat what you saw here. Tokorus is in full retreat. Your edict of fire has caused a rout. I almost have to applaud the choirmen that had the guts to give us a proper fight. I almost wish there were a few more. My sword arm was just getting warmed up. Leave the clean-up to me and my brethren. You should take your rightful place perched atop the spire. No better way to savour this victory than with a commanding view of your enemy fleeing across the valley. Yes, indeed. I think I would agree with you on that one, Iron Marshal. Shocked and demoralized by your display of power and the ease with which you dispatch their leader, the Scarlet Chorus fighters lose their nerve and scatter in defeat. The survivors carry with them fearful murmurs of the powerful Archon Calvina as being of enormous might, who can cast an edict with the same authority as the Overlord. Oh dear. This is going to get into so much trouble. Confusion sets in across the realm. Amid the whispers and misinformation, one fact remains consistent. The Overlord's power has been challenged. You safely assume that such rumours are making their way back to Kairos. Sweat stings your eyes as the edict bathes your spire in oppressive heat, its weight felt everywhere in the valley. Slowly, the temperature wanes, turning from nearly unbearable to almost tolerable. Over the next few days, the extreme heat eventually dissipates as your edict ends, releasing Vendrian's Well from its molten grasp. You gather a small council of your closest allies and plan your next steps for the safety of your spire. No sooner do you get started than Callio, Fatebinder of Tunan, pays a visit, bearing an important message. Oh, is that so? Fatebinder Callio, I keep hearing about this little spire you've been calling your own. Now that you've slaughtered those who would take your lands, I think your claim is as official as it gets. Welcome, Fatebinder Callio. I take it you're here to investigate what has happened? Naturally. Tunan expects me to give a full report, but today I come bearing an important message. Not an edict, but commandments from the mouth of the Overlord all the same. No one's entirely sure what to make of you these days, Calvina. They all say you spoke an edict of fire, not a proclamation of an edict of Kairos, but your own edict of fire. Your own mystic conflagration. You're no mere Fatebinder, of that much we can be certain. You've proclaimed and broken the Overlord's edicts perhaps one too many times. If I had known you could do this when I first met you, I'd maybe have tried in earnest to kill you. I hope for the sake of Taratus that the right person has inherited this gift. I don't know what to make of you, Fatebinder. Proclaiming and breaking the Overlord's magic, claiming these awful towers, it should come as no surprise that an edict is within your grasp, but I still find room for surprise. You're powerful in ways that gang bosses and mages aren't. You commanded this place to do your bidding and unleashed something incredible on the world. That isn't the work of a Fatebinder. If anything, it's the work of an Archon. Beast Woman will follow Alpha from here to ends of Tyr's lands and farther still. Will prowl deep into cold north, hunting armies of Kairos at Alpha's side. Together, Shadow Hunter and Alpha will slaughter whole of Prima's tribe. I don't have any idea how you're able to do this. It isn't power that any scholar can wield. This is something else. You're not some ambitious hedge mage who learned it out of a book. You're more like an Archon, where it just comes naturally. I always knew you'd be a delightful bit of trouble, but I didn't think you had a touch of the Overlord's power in you. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't we tell you? We didn't know. Yes. Genuinely didn't know. You didn't know if it would work and you decided to play with the arcane equivalent of a mountain tipping over? Huh. My confidence in you swells, Fatebinder. It's only natural to have doubted yourself. The edicts have always been the magic of Kairos and Kairos alone. Anyone claiming to be able to cast an edict would be presumed crazy. And yet, a sane man watching what you just did would see the power of the Overlord in your voice. Curious. Suppose you've no reason to play the fool. I'll say that, however, it is you came into this power. Know that you've drawn the attention of the Overlord, so congratulations, I think. I come bearing orders direct from the Overlord. Kairos has decreed two things. First, the Overlord has demanded that one and only one Archon is fit to rule the Tiers. To that end, the Archons are to settle through death or dominance who is the one Archon fit to inherit the Tiers. Well, if we're technically the Archon of the Spires, perhaps Ash or Narat, neither of them should rule the Tiers, and perhaps we should step into their stead. If that's an option. And the second decree? Kairos has decreed you are the newest Archon. Oh, well, fantastic. So the other Archons now have orders to control or destroy you. And the other way around. See? This is why I tried to avoid getting Kairos' attention. I issued an edict that makes me more than an Archon. Well, we'll get to more than an Archon in a second. You know, just that's one promotion at a time, Calvina, of course. This is what she set out to do way back in the beginning. She was always about progression. Becoming an Archon was certainly one of her priorities. She has now achieved that. I didn't know it was possible in the game, and it has transpired to be so, which is fantastic. But yes, proclaiming an edict of our own, more than an Archon, well, potentially, but for now, we have a little quandary ahead of us, because there's now 3 Archons that could control the Tiers, and the other 2 aren't going to bend their knees very easily, are they? And to be clear, this is a command from Kairos, but not an edict. Correct. There's no edict backing this order. Such encouragement hardly seems necessary when the task is its own reward. The Overlord has merely rescinded Kairos' peace. The Archons may kill and maim each other without breaking any laws. Kairos knows rightly so that enemies new and old will drive the Archons to mutual destruction. The Overlord need only remove the pretense of peace and watch the ensuing violence. Would you have preferred another do-or-die edict? Yes. And, what of the court? Have you heard what Tunen and Bled and Mark think of this? As per usual, Tunen has the emotional range of Pumice, but Bled and Mark seemed almost giddy. I think the old Shadow is already putting names on his daggers. I was wondering if Bled and Mark would hear this order and promptly stab Tunen, but no. It would seem the Archon of Shadow is happy to serve Tunen. Makes sense. I've never known the old Shadow to crave that kind of power. You'll have to deal with them too, and I fear greatly for how that will turn out. I imagine Tunen is too loyal to bow to you, and Bledenmark too proud to accept you as his better. There is no way this ends well for some of us. So, of course, it's not just Ash, it's not just the voices. Tunen is an Archon, Bledenmark is too an Archon. It's every Archon for themselves, isn't it, right now? Well, we haven't gone through this whole rigmarole, and we were never, technically speaking, in a close alliance with Graven Ash. Yes, we have worked with Graven Ash, we have done what he's asked. We had to pitch in with either him or the voices. It was, a choice between the two, but always we have had our own interests to some degree at heart, and therefore the words will come out of her mouth. I have heard enough. The other Archons will bend to my will, or as Kairos has decreed, die. The first step is deciding you won't bow to one of the other Archons. I wish you the best of luck in your upcoming struggle. Know that when you come for Bledenmark and Tunen, I and the other Fatebinders won't interfere. A question me and the other binders have been asking: can you do this again? Nunavale believes in you. Another, who shall remain nameless, takes the more cynical stance that the Overlord has a hand so far up your ass she can puppet your mouth, and you couldn't cast a second edict if you tried. She sizes you up head to toe. Me? I think you have it in you, or at least I like the idea of proclaiming an edict of yours someday. Interesting. Having somebody else proclaim one of our edicts? That is proper Kairos territory, isn't it? Having somebody else speak the words. Ooh, yeah. On the other hand, if somebody else speaks the edict, does it diminish Calvina's achievements? I think we'll park that idea for now. But Calvina being questioned here. Can you cast another one? Of course we can cast another one. In fact, strike while the iron is hot, I say. I have something in mind for the voices while his chorus were in full retreat. I think I shall issue an edict upon cacophony in the Stone Sea. Oh, the tears are about to get a lot more interesting with that attitude. I can taste their lamentations already. When you rule Taratus, look me up, if you're successful. I know I'll be in need of a new Archon to serve. I know I'm mostly sober, but just so we're clear, you did just issue an edict, right? First, you can cast an edict, then this full-on war of Archons. This whole chapter of the Chronicle is... it's like reading fiction. So, Kairos has ordered all the Archons to fight it out until only the strongest remain. I think we can now safely say that the Scarlet Chorus philosophy has been vindicated. A rumbling mutter stirs from under Barrick's helmet, devoid of any cogent words. Alpha birth's own words of power, like humans prima called Kairos, is better mystic than brood mother to kills in shadow, than stone stalkers, 100 blood, than beast woman Archon slaughtered by mark of shadows. Kills in shadow knew Alpha was most powerful human in whole of Tyr's lands. nose was not wrong. One last thing. All this talk of you being the second coming of the Overlord, and I almost forgot my duties. This is a court summons from Bleddyn Mark, Tunan's assassin. I suggest you read it carefully as part of your preparations. Your survival may depend on it. Good luck, Archon. Cacophony now unlocked. Fatebinder. Archon. The great general has pulled his troops back to Iron Hearth. Soon we make our final push into the Stone Sea and the heart of Scarlet Cora's power. The voices of Norat is weak, and the path to Cacophony is clear. The Archon is also aware of what happened at Vendrion's Well. I'm sure he wants to discuss the matter in person. Yes, I shall consider the request. I wouldn't spend too long considering. You've demonstrated incredible power, and this is a time for action. I'll send Ash a bird so he knows to expect you later, if not right away. Take care how you treat with Graven Ash. You're no mere Fatebinder any longer. You'll meet with him as Archon to Archon, and such things are more complicated. Good luck. Holy shoot. Trial of Archons completed. We never did cast our judgment, but hey, travel to Tunan's court to stand trial for my actions. Oh, we'll stand trial, all right. Oh yes, we'll stand trial. Kid, I take it you're aware of the Overlord's latest decree. If not, let me give it to you straight. Now's a bad time to be an Archon in the tiers, since most likely I'll be the one to cut you down. I thought I'd first explain. It's not my choice. But if it was, I would still choose to kill you. See you soon. Arrange a meeting. Arrange a meeting. Indeed. If I am to die by your hand, I would prefer it to be in battle face to face, or would that be face to shadow? Regardless, at the risk of depriving you the thrill of a good ambush, I would ask that we meet in person, as peers, drawing blades openly, if that is what is to come. On the reverse of this parchment, I've mapped for you a location in the wilderness. Let us meet and settle things there. I'll provide you 2 days to scout the location in advance should you require. Hope to see you there. Okay, say something cordial. Taunt him. No, arrange a meeting. Holy cow. And so they're going to fall one at a time. A meeting with Bleddyn Mark. We're off to Cacophony. About to go speak with Ash. Only 2 none left and then we're done. And so the Archons will all topple like a pack of cards. Holy cow, this has just got all manner of interesting. Right, Lantry. Finishing the last pen strokes of a note running about his left arm, Lantry looks up at you with a nod.
Not to steal your glorious day in the sun, but I must say, now all my notes on you are suddenly worth 10 times their weight in iron. My journals will melt the linens off the ladies, I tell you. What's that you say? Buxom, nubile lasses with an interest in old men who know history. You need a definitive tractatus on the trials and tribulations of the Archon of the Tears? Ha! Well, you're in luck. I think one can safely conclude that you have the Overlord's attention, and that of the Tears. Soon, all of Taratus. You realize, I trust, I hope, that nobody other than Kairos has ever cast an edict until you.
Happen to know when Kairos first cast an edict, Lantry?
Good question. In parts north, it's commonly held that Kairos' Edict of Dust was the first, but it was cast in the year 11. It was just the first edict to ripple across the whole of Taratus. If you lived somewhere that used to have antelope, you'd probably think that's the first edict of the Overlord. But here, The answer is given to us by the Overlord's own sense of posterity. Year 0 of Kairos' calendar is said to correspond to the day Kairos went from warlord to wearer of many crowns. A victory won when the first Edict of Storms shocked both the Cloud Barons and the realm of Medrev to capitulate.
And are you sure history hasn't just edited or forgotten those who could rival the Overlord?
Well, I have a hard time believing that someone would cast an edict and not have it noticed.
Yes, but maybe a rival casts an edict, Kairos kills a rival, takes the credit for the events.
Well, as of now, I've seen with my own eyes that the Overlord is not unique in this regard. And I suppose you're all the evidence I need to throw suspicion on the record. Now, if you are right, that implies the Overlord has no qualms silencing and murdering those who pose a threat. In your case, at least my written record of you might survive. See? I'm being optimistic.
Good to see optimism, Lantry. Now, I think you are right in that it is also safe to assume that Kairos will try to solve me in some fashion. We must be prepared for this.
At the same time, if you really were a meaningful threat, you'd have already been the victim of an edict, or bled in Mark's daggers. So this has me rather curious. Just what does the Overlord wish to do with you?
Indeed. Well, we shall find out soon enough. We should soon get going.
Indeed. Once again, I find myself wishing the days and nights would slow down just a hair. Never enough hours to journal these dense days. Let us be on our way.
Okay, Barrick. I can scarcely believe it. You proclaimed an edict, you wielded the power of the Overlord for a moment, perhaps, but it was enough to turn the tide of battle in our favour. That simply doesn't happen. The Overlord's magic is as unknowable as anything on Tyratus, as mysterious and, well, I was about to say as unapproachable as the spires, but you have clearly dispelled that notion. And do you have any suggestions on what I do next? Hold fast to your loyalties in the Overlord's hierarchy. There's always a chance that Kairos will leave you alone if your fealty is true. But I offer no guarantees. This is what I would do anyway. You must follow your own path. Yes, well, Kairos doesn't tolerate competition, so we should be prepared for trouble. No, indeed. I wouldn't want to stand in your place when the day of reckoning comes, but standing next to you might prove just as dangerous.
What can I do for you?
And Verse, are you trying to piss everyone off, or do you just do this for fun? I'm not judging either way, I'm just curious. Casting an edict on vengeance, well, it's a good way to shine a beacon on yourself. Or paint a target. Yes, I saved your skin, didn't I? Sure did, for now. Like I said, I'm not trying to prod you or suggest you made the wrong call. As someone who likes to stay discreet until she has the opening to strike a killing blow, I find your little public gesture of dominance, well, quaint. Charming. In a dumb way. Wow. It's all kicking off, my friends. We've lost a little bit of power, but we still have enough to cast another edict should one be necessary. This would be a perfect place to end the session, but I'm so intrigued as the story is picking up pace all of a sudden that I really must press on. Just a little bit further. And the first Archon we're going to speak with. It's Graven Ash. Now this could turn very sour very quickly. Very quickly. You think he'd... I don't know. We shall leave it in Calvina's capable hands. Received a missive from Bled and Mark. Kid, if I haven't said it before, I'll say it now. I'm going to enjoy killing you. And while I'd love to carve your heart out and feed it to the darkness in a remote spot in a shaded weald, unlike you, I'm not dumb enough to act on a whim. Can't wait for the adjudicator's execution order. I'll be anticipating your arrival at the court. Don't snuff the lights. Execution, my eye.
On it.
Maybe we should have gone to Tunan's first. I don't know. So many choices. Who do we tick off first? My God, are we going to end up absolutely blitzing through a disfavored camp, or can this end cordially? I can't see how it can. I really can't.
We find ourselves at an impasse.
Uh-oh.
You are no Fatebinder to be shrugged off, dispatched, or underestimated. No, that time is over. You are an Archon.
Oh my God. Oh boy. Indeed. We'll let him continue.
Your silence only incriminates you further. But never mind. We yet have a problem that is degrees of importance over you and your wayward authority.
Wayward authority? Oh dear, he's not a happy bunny, is he?
The voices of Nerat must be executed. With his destruction, his leaderless mob will disperse throughout the tiers from which they came, and we will be free to subjugate this lawless realm. I expect nothing less than your report that the Archon of Secrets has been dealt with. Dismissed.
Wow. Wow. Would Calvina be so brazen as to openly attack just because she's been slighted? Because essentially she has. She's an Archon. She doesn't take orders now from anybody other than Overlord, him or herself. And he's just spoke to us like a piece of crap. But we do wish to deal with the Archon of Secrets, and perhaps that is what we should turn our attentions to first, and then take it from there. I think that's probably the best thing to do. We need to pick our fights carefully, we're not foolish. We will no doubt come to blows at some point, but now is not the time. March on Cacophony, holy hell. Okay, but first, we have a date with the Archon of Justice. Oh hell. We're probably doing this completely backwards, but hey, it's the order in which Calvina is doing things. Oh boy. This is absolutely fantastic. Are we going to end up with in the fisticuffs in the middle of the in the middle of court? Face Tunan's judgment. Oh, it's all silent. There's not a soul to be seen in the entranceway. This is a very ominous, oh boy. Look at the gathering. Oh, Calvina. Oh, Calvina. This court is closed. Indeed it is. This is an outrage! We demand to be heard! Yeah. Escorting them out. There are more important matters to attend to.
Fatebinder, thank you for answering my summons. This could very well be the defining hour of the conquest.
Okay, we are bowing out of respect, not out of subservience.
I first want to make it clear why we've assembled today. After the collapse of Vendrian's Well and the start of the Civil War, it became clear to me that there must have been some great fault on the part of the Archons. We come together to root out the source of our troubles and determine which of the Archons has sowed more chaos during the war.
I think the answer to that question is obvious. Adjudicator. Giving voice to it here is but a formality to confirm what we already know. Tunen turns to aim what you can only assume is a stern look. He refocuses back onto you with cool stoicism.
Much has happened since I dispatched you on that mission. With Kairos' mandate that only one Archon may rule the tiers, the verdict is now more important than ever. We cannot allow this conquest to descend into total anarchy. You backed Graven Ash and his disfavored army at the start of the Civil War. I know that you must have been torn in your decision, but I assure you that your loyalty to the Archon isn't in question here. Only your findings will be weighed with their due importance.
Oh my god, look at this. Yeah, we were here not to follow blindly, as I said. We simply lent our strength to his cause to achieve what we set out to achieve. He is certainly not an easy man to follow. I challenge you to find an Archon more caring and devoted than Ash. Apologies, Your Honor.
Hard work deserving of commendation, I'm sure. Such details can be sorted out when the war is over. In your professional and objective opinion, which of the two Archons is guilty of sowing the most chaos in the tiers?
Both. Oh, hell. Okay, so the Voices obviously has sown more chaos. I think we gathered that from last time. But Graven Ash has not been without fault, actually. And this would help, maybe help, to achieve our end of eliminating Archons that stand in our way. We have evidence that incriminate both of them. It feels really harsh. But we know what the order is, right? Only one Archon can rule. We've got to take feelings out of it. We've got to take, we've got to take other factors out other than the simple fact that this is going to come to a head. We are essentially fighting for our life against Archons right now. This is not a game to be taken lightly. And we do have evidence that both have had a part to play. And therefore, we are going to proclaim that both are guilty. What? I'm afraid I have to echo that sentiment.
That is not an option. You were tasked with determining the guilt of one Archon and one Archon alone.
Fine.
Choose.
Oh, we have to choose. Oh, come on, game. I choose both. Why not? Fine. The one that had the more damning evidence against him was certainly the Voices, so...
And so the charges are declared. I'm confident you've come with prepared arguments and research, as is expected of your station.
Oh, of course I have. I won't stand here and patiently sit through baseless accusation.
In accordance to Kairos' legal custom, you will state the crimes against the Archon and offer up your evidence. The court will weigh your claims on their merits.
Oh damn, we should have read the evidence before we entered. I didn't think we were having a full judgment about this situation. I thought we were coming in here to be dressed down for what we'd done. Let's hope we can remember.
I would encourage you to make as many claims as possible. Bringing charges against an Archon is no small matter. They are not accountable to Kairos' laws with the same rigidity as an average citizen, so it may be more difficult to justify their guilt.
Right, well, hopefully we have enough evidence then to do the task. Right, come on.
Provided that you have the evidence to back them, of course. To make a claim lacking evidence will only harm your case in the court's eyes. Is this understood?
We cannot afford to cock this up, is what he's saying here. You no doubt recall the categories of infraction to which Archons may be heard liable. They are sedition, incompetence, war crimes, and the hoarding of forbidden knowledge. It's not every day that we are called upon to determine guilt on such a scale. Tread lightly. So sedition, sort of enticing enemy and assisting the enemy to rise up against us. Incompetence speaks for itself. War crimes, attacking disfavored, for instance, and the hoarding of forbidden knowledge. As the ice cream man comes past.
Then we are ready to begin. State your claims, Fatebinder. You may proceed at your own pace.
Also, we definitely know about sedition, right? Because we've got evidence that they've been helping the enemy, providing them with weaponry. We've definitely got that. So we'll start with the obvious one. So Calvina accusing the voices of sedition most foul. Sedition. No small matter to weigh against an Archon, but if you believe the voices has colluded with the enemy, then have on. Present your case, Fatebinder. Yeah, gave disfavored battle plans to the stalwart defenders. Bah! As if any credible evidence could be dredged up from that junk heap of a realm. Whatever you found is probably so smeared or torn as to be illegible. You found evidence of such a crime? Shocking that the Archon of Secrets would allow any trace to fall in wayward hands, but Stalwart is far from the Archon's reach. Simply fascinating. Do you have further evidence? Yes. Under the Voice's orders, Harkion Bronze smuggled iron weapons to the Vendrian Guard. The Archon of Secrets' treachery runs deeper than I even imagined. I fear this news harms the very foundation of our offensive. Thank you for delivering it to our attention. Do you have further evidence? Of course, yes. The Scarlet Chorus aided the Unbroken during the Civil War. I found disfavored patrol routes on an enemy body, delivered by Chorus agents. Oh dear, he's looking a little bit less cocky now, isn't he, as the evidence mounts up. Documentation is rare indeed in a time of war, where confusion and disorder reign. The court accepts this evidence of collusion. Do you have further evidence? I make no more claims of sedition. I think that's quite damning enough. Then let us move on to the charges. I think we will move on to incompetence. Do we have any incompetence claims? Surely we must. The Voices has suffered charges of incompetence in the past, but always proved himself a capable leader and brilliant strategist. I'm curious if your evidence will prove otherwise. It's pretty weak, but we'll just lay it on thick with everything that we've got. So at the Burning Library, the censor twisted her mission into a sick game. Mighty Tunen. I was under the impression that an Archon could direct their forces as they saw fit, and that a game was as good as an expedition if it got the job done. Not when valuable wartime resources are at stake and the Archon stood to lose troops for needless entertainment. Overruled. Kairos takes the knowledge of the Vellum Citadel quite seriously, as do I. If one of the Voices' officers reduced their orders to a source of amusement, that reflects poorly on the Archon. No, that is the only incompetence claim I have, Your Honour. And now, I accuse him of war crimes. The Voices of Narat has a tendency to interpret Kairos' law as he desires, but I hope this practice hasn't spun out of control. Tell me of these war crimes, Fatebinder. Well, first of all, Jagged Remedy was conspiring from the Unbroken when his forces were forbidden from the region. Conscripting, rather. An infraction on the Stalwart territory, to which Graven Ash placed his claim. This shows some disregard for the disfavoured operation. Yes, and also, the Scarlet Chorus attempted to bribe me for iron weapons during the Haven campaign. Yes, and the disfavoured are blameless in this accusation, are they? Ask her to justify the Legion's guilt. The Archon stares at him. I do not take the attempted corruption of a Fatebinder lightly. The Scarlet Chorus should have known that this would come to light. Even in their schemes, they are short-sighted. Yes, and finally, I found a log of interrogations and tortures by one foul murmur. He recorded vile acts with disfavoured prisoners from before the war. Disgusting! Nothing less than the full brunt of justice's hammer will avenge my countrymen. Murmur's grasp on literacy is uncertain at best. The man couldn't remember the date of his own birth, much less the date of an interrogation. Shocking. More so than the acts themselves, their brazen disregard for peace. As if the Archon himself mocks us from afar. Any other war crimes come to mind? No? That is the evidence that I have present. And finally, hoarding a forbidden knowledge. Do we have him on that one? Yeah. Only the fact that the censor sought to claim the silent archive for the voices of Narat. We'll kind of skip over the bit that, that we took it for ourselves. Kairos proclaimed the Edict of Fire for a good reason. The sages would not relinquish their dangerous knowledge. Claiming the silent archive is an obvious transgression of the Overlord's authority. There's no telling how many recruits were exposed to dangerous law and will require immediate execution. I wouldn't worry overmuch, great adjudicator. I'm sure the censor picked only the most dim and illiterate swine for the task, not what you'd call bookish types. Unless you can personally vouch for every single recruit who entered the library, it will be up to the court's discretion to decide the magnitude of guilt. Can you voice further evidence that the Archon hoarded forbidden knowledge? I cannot. Right. Well, I have made my case to the best of my abilities.
Very well. I have weighed your evidence against the charges.
Oh, hell. Let's go, come on.
The Court of Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and Counsel to Kairos the Overlord finds the voices of Nerat guilty of sowing chaos, flaunting his authority, and using the time of war to advance his own twisted ambition. The sentence is death.
Death indeed. Well, there you have it. Mr. Voices of Nerat, you come sweeping through my guild and take me away from what I had known and loved for many a year? What mockery of a process is this? The charges are all fabrications against my master, and I won't hear of it. The Court of Tunon has ruled you overripe pustule. I suggest you hold your tongue.
In accordance with Kairos's laws, the court headsman will deliver the verdict and its consequences to our former colleague. I summon Blood and Mark to appear.
Oh, I've got a feeling this is going to turn horribly sour. I think he's going to kill him, you know. Oh, here he is. Shadows billow and flare ominously, thicker than blood and deathly, seeping and gnashing, eating at the throne room from the farthest edges, in, closer and closer, creeping still until finally, for a single held breath, even the air goes black and the light has been swallowed. And then there is light again, and Bled and Mark, the Archon assassin, standing before you, shrouded in shadows and daggers and death, and with white teeth flashing in his mouth as he laughs. Kid Adjudicator. He regards you each, eyes two coals that burn as he speaks. And who will this blade be cutting today? The usual, or someone new? Ooh, we'd like to carry out execution myself. Well, we shall follow protocol for now. You're to execute the Archon of Secrets, the Voices of Nerat. Brow raised, the assassin flicks his gaze to Tunen. Been a while since I snuffed an Archon. Could be a tall order. Might take me longer than last time. Unless maybe the kid wants to take a stab at it. Well, if Red and Mark here is going to take some time over this, perhaps I can indeed take a stab, as he puts it. Now see, that's what I like about you, kid. You're so malleable. Don't get yourself killed, or I'll have to clean up after you.
The court has greater need of legal minds than it does of headsmen, but I will allow this predisposition of yours as long as it doesn't conflict with your duties. Deliver this writ to the guilty and execute them with the court's approval. First, there is the matter of the petitioner who so blindly followed their corrupt and reprobate master.
Oh, you mean Chappie down here? The adjudicator turns his attention to the disfavored and scarlet chorus petitioners. Even through his stoic mask, the intensity of his gaze is evident. What can I do for you, mighty Tunen?
Given the court's findings, I judge you guilty by association with the Voices of Nerat. As he perpetrated his crimes, you had the audacity to represent the Scarlet Chorus in this hall of law. What of his fate, student? You proved the Voice's guilt. His servant is yours to dispense with as you see fit.
Yes, well, considering his master is soon to be executed, I suppose nothing less will suffice for this man.
So it is judged. Nunaval, deliver the sentence elsewhere. No need to dirty the floor with this one's passing, especially while we have matters yet to resolve.
Oh dear. Matters yet to resolve. I wonder what they could be. Return once your duties are completed and the Archon is dead. There is more still to resolve before this conflict reaches a satisfactory end. Do not dally. Wow. Deliver the writ of execution to the Voices of Nerat. I've chosen to deliver the execution myself. I wonder what would have happened if we'd have chosen Brad and Mark to do it. So travel to Cacophony and deliver the writ. So it says here we agreed to aid Graven Ash. Which makes me wonder, should we have turned on Graven Ash there and then to make our ends clear? I'm not sure. Not sure how things are going to pan out after we've dealt with the voices here. But hey ho, we've made our bed, so indeed we shall have to line it, and we have gone into overtime here, so we shall now end the session, and in the next one we will head out to Cacophony to deal with the Voices of Nerat. It's been a long time coming for Calvina, but finally she'll get to face him down and deal with him. Until next time. See you soon.